Hello, Ballers Rounders. Good evening. We know it's a late night show tonight, and welcome to a very special reaction episode of the Ball is Round Montreal. We got some big news to talk about tonight, and I couldn't think of a better person to join me but one of the three amigos, Hattie Raphael. My
Hey,
man, Hattie.
hey, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Hello, ho, ho, ho. I could say because it's Christmas and I'm Santa Claus bringing gifts to the CF Montreal fans. So yeah, I'm super happy.
Yeah, same here, man. Super excited, super happy to be having this show because it seemed like another normal Monday night, another normal Tuesday, but no, as
Nana,
luck would have
ah.
it, it can never be normal, right? So, how are you doing today, Hattie? What's up with you?
Listen, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm super excited by the news, and of course, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Alexis Sanchez. But before, I wanted to take just a second or two to talk about the mid-year presser that the Supra did last week on Thursday. I didn't have a chance to talk about it, but it was really nice, honestly. Very, very nice. We were well received. Great job from Felipe and all his team. And it was really nice to talk with Rocco Placentino, to talk with Matteo, the sporting director, but also with the players, Charles Auguste, with David Chouanière, and of course the coach, Nick Razaghi. It was very, very nice. They answered all our questions. When you look at it, just, rapidly, you look at what the Supra has done this year for an expansion year. They're just a few points away from a playoff spot. They're almost in the quarterfinals of the Canadian Champions. Semifinals of the Canadian Champions League with, like, they're leading right now 2-0 against Ottawa. The game is being played right now. So, it's pretty exciting. Like, we do the day-to-day ourselves, and sometimes we're a bit rough whenever we see a game, and that's completely normal. But when you look at it, from afar, you're like, you know what? They're doing quite well. And I like the press conference because they gave us a bit of a perspective on the season with a lot of numbers, which I found very, very interesting. So yeah, no, I was very happy to be there in attendance and to witness that great half season of the SS Supra du Québec.
Absolutely, yeah. They definitely. Well, I wasn't there, but I did see it online, and it was a fantastic experience, and very happy to cover them and see how they're growing. They're going through their ups and downs as well, just like any new team would do in their league. But yeah, as you mentioned, they are playing the game, so I hope you guys are watching us and watching them at the same time, supporting them as they're in their halftime winning 2-0 in the Canadian Championship. Yes, as Robbie mentioned a little bit earlier, he said in honor of our newest CF Montreal player, Buenas noches, amigos. Yes. And P Dubs that is with us, whoop whoop. That's the sound of the police. Yes, sir. And while LP Helps that says, even gentlemen, if you need a third because the Lions isn't here, I'll had it gladly filled in. It's okay. We might have guests. We might not have guests, right? Right, Hattie? It's a big night. It's a big night,
It's
big
a big
news.
night. We
On the
might
game.
have gets. We never know, right?
We'll
So
see. Maybe people
it
might
was a
drop
last
by.
minute thing also, so
Yeah,
we couldn't really invite anyone last minute, but
yeah. But
we
this
tried.
is exciting news, so people that might make exceptions. We'll see. But look, we'll talk. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it right away. Yesterday, the news broke, and today it was officially confirmed by CF Montreal. Chilean international, former Arsenal star, and one of the biggest names in South American football, Alexis Sanchez, is coming to Montreal.
Former Olympique de Marseille star, please.
Sure, that's definitely in his biography somewhere.
It is.
Sure. All right, and Alexis Sanchez is joining CF Montreal as a designated player on a contract that runs through the end of the 2027 sprint MLS season with an option for the 2028 season. This is a massive move for CF Montreal, not just because of the name, because it is a big name. Alexis Sanchez is very, very well known in the football world, but it's also about the impact he could have on pretty much everything and anything. CF Montreal shirt sales. I had a friend today, a colleague, that I told him, "Oh, Alexis Sanchez is going," and he said, for him, I would pay a ticket to go watch a game. I don't even care. He said, for him, I will go to watch that game. Even if they win or lose, I don't care. I'm going to see him. This is why you get an Alexis Sanchez. You get somebody that can say, I'll buy a ticket to go watch him play. It doesn't matter if he's playing on one leg or he barely cares to be there. He's Alexis Sanchez. He's a big name, right? So um, it's a very yeah. Let's talk about it a little bit. Hattie, I almost called you Elias. Hattie, can you tell can you tell me, like, what was your first reaction? What was the first thing you thought about when you saw when you well what I think it's the first time we see this, Hattie, to be honest, is the team CF Montreal themselves give us a scoop with a little release. They're the ones that gave us their scoop. That was crazy. Well, which and just I just want to show their little announcement that they had there in the screen. But yeah, so go ahead. What was your reaction when you see that little 10-minute clip, 10-second clip, sorry, and he says the word Alexis?
Honestly, I was like, at last, CF Montreal understands the need of their fans and answer to it. That's the problem, man. We're gonna talk about on the pitch, stuff a bit later, but what the CF Montreal wants to see, they want to be proud of their team first, right? Of course, results are going to be super important, but there's nothing better than trying to convince a friend, trying to convince a Euro snob, like we like to call them, to tell them, hey, I'm going to see CF Montreal. Alexis Sanchez plays there.
Yeah.
This is something that we like to do. We used to like it when it was with what Didier Drogba was here. We used to like it when Marco Di Vaio was here. We used to like it when Nesta was here. Even some Euro snobs, even Matteo Ferrari, even Marco Donadel, when they used to be players. These names attract a bit like Victor Wanyama. But when you talk about Alexis Sanchez, you're attracting a much bigger crowd, and that's was really interesting, with all the indifference around the team from the CF Montreal fans lately because of the results. Having a bit of aura, having a bit of a world renowned player like Alexis Sanchez gives that salt and pepper to the product on the field, which I think is really, really interesting. And at last, we see CF Montreal answer to that. And I was super excited. Of course, I talked about it a bit earlier. He was a Marseille player for a year. He was great at Marseille. We'll talk about it a bit later. And it's something that you can't be indifferent when you hear about Alexis Sanchez. You can't. Like, you either love it, hate it, or you're like, you always have an opinion. If I tell you, I don't know, another player the other rumors that were there, like Stipe Buick or whatever, you don't have an opinion. You don't know them. But Alexis Sanchez, you know him. So you're either curious, you're either a hater, or you're either a lover, but you have an opinion. And that's what you needed in the CF Montreal community. You needed that.
Yeah, well, it's been a long time, and I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Hattie, when I first started making the connection that it was Alexis Sanchez that was coming to CF Montreal. I don't remember the last time that I could tell somebody, a random, everyday Joe, that hey, this player is coming as a DP to CF Montreal, and that person would say, "Oh wow!" No, because I would tell that person, they would say, "Who's Ivan Jaime?"
Yeah.
Who's Giacomo Vrioni? That it had been a very, very long time that you could sincerely talk to other people that even watch international soccer, or the World Cup just finished, or they just finished watching, and they recognize the name. And like you said, it's an aura. It's a thing of like, oh my God, now the eyes have turned. The eyes have turned from the Messi mania that was in Miami to us. Now, I am not in any way putting Alexis, I'm not putting him at the same level of Messi at all. Nowhere near.
But
But
there
the
was
kind,
there was Messi, there was Griezmann, there was Lewandowski, and now you
yeah,
have Alexis Sanchez. So
yeah,
like you can put them at the same level in the way they're known across the soccer or the word soccer community, and that's what's interesting. I
yeah,
completely
exactly.
agree
And
with you.
that's why to me it was like, okay, finally I can actually, this is a conversation starter, not just locally in here in Montreal, but outside of Montreal. And we'll talk about the impact that it has on the whole of MLS. But this is big news. There's no other way of putting it on. Like him, maybe you liked him as a player in other teams, maybe you didn't like him as a player in other teams. But at the end of the day, for Montreal, for the city, for the club, it's a big signing. But let's talk about it. Once the shock was off, once you realize, okay, you know what? All right, took me a good maybe 20 minutes to kind of get go a little crazy. Did the signing actually make sense to you? Did you see it and you said, okay, you know what? It makes sense that he would come here, or were you still like, holy smokes, this is crazy? How did you feel once the dust settled?
Okay, now let's get back to Earth, and to that's when I started thinking about it. Of course, Alexis Sanchez, you're not signing a player like Griezmann and Lewandowski that was still playing with the biggest clubs in Europe before coming here. I understand that, and that's completely acceptable in a way. At the same time, you're not a club that attracts players of that pedigree unless you put the money. So when you look at the risk, money wise, the risk that you're taking, I think it makes sense. It makes sense to CF Montreal because you're getting a big name, but you're not putting all your eggs in the same basket by signing him, because you don't have the whole team around it to come and sign a Lewandowski, and put that much money on one player. You need to have a bit more money to sign other players plus Alexis Sanchez. So hopefully we're going to see that from CF Montreal, that because that signing is not enough. It's pretty nice if it's complemented by a couple of good players next to it, but it's really nice also to attract people back to Stade Saputo. Like we said last episode, when last week, it was unacceptable to see a home game with 15,000 people. Like, this was unacceptable, and we haven't seen that in the past 3-4 years, even if the results weren't there. So now with someone like Alexis Sanchez, I expect to see a packed schedule, a packed crowd, a packed capacity for the next a few weeks. And look who's here, Saf.
Uh,
Hello.
did he not pay his electricity bill? Where the hell's the light, bro? Your microphone is disconnected, so if, try to see if you can connect your mic. But yeah, so going. We're gonna have to do a testing 1-2 with so. But you know what, guys? In this pod, exceptionally, we might do a little bit of French here and there to just kind of fill in our idea. Still don't hear yourself. Just make sure that it's connected. But for those of you that don't know, we have Sofiane Benzaza amongst us from Couscous Piri Piri that also wants to give his take on the on the signing of Alexis Sanchez. Once his microphone turns on, au pire, tu peux nous rejoindre peut-être dans un téléphone ou quelque chose, but we'll be here.
Nah,
We'll wait for
nah,
you.
nah. He's good. Try, try,
Yeah,
try to speak.
le gars, il travaille dans IT.
No, but on t'entend, mais not
Loin,
from
loin,
not
loin.
from the right mic.
Il se connecte à lui, là.
Et voilà!
Ah, yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Self, we were just talking about our reactions to the Alexis Sanchez signing. Can you tell us maybe what was when you first saw the video drop by CF Montreal? And they said the name Alexis. What's going through your head? What are you feeling? Are you excited? Are you like, no? What's going on through your mind?
I mean, I think you all know me. I'm very lately I've been very subdued. Comme on dit là, I'm very like You know, I want to
It's
see him.
okay.
I want to see him land. I want to see what's happening. No, but I've been. It's kind of going against my prediction that they won't have any DP players, and they have one, not the most prime that you like. Uh, not the Piari, not the the 24, 28-year-old DP player that you don't know very well, but is very good. But he's a great choice. I was a bit shocked. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, because I thought about it before you went to Marseille. I was like, oh, Marseille, maybe you should come after. C'est genre, even, bah oui, bien sûr. And just a shout out, I just like, I expect shit to get shit from Nilton. My first podcast is vacation, and it's not with him, and it's bilingual.
We
And,
stole
Wait,
you.
wait, smile.
We
Let me send
stole
him this
you.
picture.
and it's bilingual, so it's anti Nilton. So yeah. No, but how do I say it?
Yeah.
No, it's cool. It's cool. The video was nice, a nice touch. It was well done, and it was really refreshing. But in the sea of indifference around the club, for me, I was a bit like, okay, but at the same time, je suis encore en sevrage de la Coupe du Monde. Là. I'm like exhausted from soccer. I'm like, okay, now I have to watch European preseason, MLS, CPL. Hey, c'est bon là. It's like,
That's a bit too much.
I, I disconnected. Whereas you guys training or Supra or whatever, so you're always on the
Oh,
beat.
we're disconnected. So that's us being disconnected.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
So let's get back to Alexis Sanchez. So we were talking a little bit like, once the smoke, once the excitement gets off, it's you kind of realize, okay, he's still 37 years old. Like, he's not young. He's not the player he once was. Hattie was telling us a little bit how, it feels like, yeah, it's a cool signing. It's an important one. But at the same time, it still feels like there's some pieces missing. Is that what you were feeling, stuff? Were you feeling like this is maybe
missing from Alex?
No,
for the team.
Oh, mais là, c'est bon. Le gars is like, un sujet à la fois, okay? On peut pas. We can't be doing DP, Alex Sanchez, and the team building blocks. I think we've been through this for like 3 years now. Let's not redo this again. You know the answer is like, if they can, they can. But
So you think that's it? You think this is the signing, and we're not gonna have any more signings because it needs to be complemented by a couple of more signings, right?
Yes, I think they want to, for sure. I think they want to, but it doesn't mean it's gonna happen. It's not a question of lack of will or means, whatever their budget is or their target is, but it's more. They might get a couple more signings, maybe a few MLS trades. Ça peut aller vite. But at the end, I'm like, the question is like, that's why I said the same thing with Divaya and Drogba. If physically they're okay, it's gonna be good. I don't think Sanchez will be as effective as Divaya was. But you know what? I don't know, because in Copa America 2 years ago, he was pretty good, Sanchez, for his age. I'm like, oh, he's not that bad. Playing against Canada, he wasn't that bad. So I'm like, okay, but it's more about his role. And the thing is, it's not the question of the player, it's the player where he's coming into. And
It's coming into a mess, a big mess.
yeah, so I'm not sure what's happening. What's the expectation of the staff, the technical staff? I'm talking like on the bench, how they're gonna integrate him, how to manage egos. That's every day, with or without Alexis Sanchez. How to manage the team, the whole expectation. When is he gonna play? It's gonna be 90 minutes. It's gonna be in a week. Gonna be in 2 weeks. The whole back and forth, So yeah, it's odd.
What really, because I've seen Alexis Sanchez, as I was telling you earlier in the show, Hattie, I've seen him play a lot, but against Peru, and obviously the only thing that that I can compare it to watching him play with Chile against Peru was that in Chile he was also similar to here in Montreal. He was kind of the focal point of their attack. He was the guy to go to, and the other pieces would help him out. But there were too many times where Peru would simply play a simple defense where they would just kind of surround him and block him off, and that's it. Chile had no attack. Yeah. And so this is what when you're saying, Hadi, and Sophie too, you're saying, it's important to surround them with pieces. 100%. It's important to surround them with pieces because Alexis Sanchez, as talented as he can be, as much as skill as he has his limits. He has his limits where he can't take on five different players.
No. And it's a different scenario than Divayo, big time. Drogba was, I think the team was ripe and ready for Drogba. We didn't know it. I didn't expect even Patrice Bernier and Rio Coker and Donadel to step up. Maybe they had a boost of like adrenaline when the Drogba came in during that, that crazy 2015. 2016 was a bit, not more up and down. It was more normal season. He was there, but it was a, you know, pe- team saw them coming, but they played well. They played well. 2015 was the big, with Drogba was the big, they just lost against Toronto. They fired Klopas. Drogba was there for a game or didn't play yet. I don't remember. He was just signed and they let go of Klopas after a loss against Toronto FC. And then you want like a snowball effect with the Morbillo as the head coach. So it's a question of how is he gonna play. And honestly, like they need to. It's like I'm not gonna have a tactical debate. So like he does whatever he wants, whatever he can. Number 9, 9.5, winger, fake winger.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the self-image froze, but he's still with us. But let's talk about the tactical aspect of it, Hattie. How does Alexis Sanchez fit into the tactical aspect of CF Montreal the way you see him play now?
It's what I think, anyways.
You froze for
I
me,
froze.
yeah,
Ah,
you froze. For me.
Literally.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So how does he fit? How would you say he fits into the?
He froze again. So just yeah, I'm not sure why he's freezing Safian, but yeah, where does he fit? And that's the big question, right? It's nice to bring a player of that pedigree to the team, but where does he fit? Right now, Alexis Sanchez nowadays, and it's been a few years now, he plays as a striker or a second striker, right? So he doesn't play on the wing. He doesn't play on the right. He doesn't play on the left, right? He only plays as a striker or a second striker. I watched him with Marseille. He was playing as a main striker. He had an amazing season, and all the talks that a lot of the community has been having right now about Alexis Sanchez being too old and being finished and being injured a lot and everything. All that talk, I've heard exactly the same before he signed to Marseille. Exactly the same thing. And then he went to Marseille and he scored 14 goals. He had an amazing season, and his value increased from the time he signed to Marseille to the time he left. And then he went away and he went to Udinese. He came back to Udinese, which was one of his first clubs in Europe.
And I did want to show this little graphic that I showed you before the show. We're not gonna go the numbers and all that. I'm covering you guys' faces. I'm sorry about that, but you can see like how his stats have been throughout at least throughout his career, right, since 2008, and you can see that matches played, it's up and down, right? It's always between the threes and the twos. We see that in 2024 he was limited to 13 matches played, but last year he played 28. But it wasn't all starting, right? It was only 11 starts, and the amount of minutes he played were also limited. So when you guys see those numbers, like, is it something that you say, okay, well, he came here to play as a backup. He came here to really or he's the kind of guy that's gonna right away make an impact 100% the moment he suits up for CF Montreal.
Whatever physically he can do. So
Exactly.
that's about it. It's like, can he physically? Because he's a very intense player. Like Divayo was, very physical, very athletic, but very different. Sanchez Alexis is very intense, very dynamic. He's a machine. So
Yeah.
So it's whatever his body can do. Sorry to be boring and sorry to cut off every 2 seconds with the internet. So
That's okay.
Told
It's
you,
okay.
inviting me was a risk. So
No, we're happy to have you, man. We're happy to have you. But he has a never let go attitude.
Yeah.
Alexis Sanchez. He's there. It's like a dog chasing a bone on the pitch. That's exactly what he
Doesn't
is,
stop,
right?
yeah.
All the time. And I agree with Saf that it all depends of how much he can handle. If he's physically able, he's 100% on the pitch. He will not be on the bench. He will be on the pitch as long as he's physically able. And
Hmm.
we read, I saw the comment of P Dubs a bit earlier. He said that Maxime Trouvan has been very right about a couple of things, and that we're expecting a second signing, offensive signing. I understand that, but at the same time, also Maxime Trouvan said something very interesting is that Alexis Sanchez could be ready to play before the end of August. So he's going to be ready very, very soon. Now, I want to go back to the stats sheet. I will not, go into it too much. But for the people that are looking at the past year and are saying, oh, yeah, but he wasn't that good last year, only 11 starts, only 4 goals and 2 assists. Guys, have you seen Sevilla's season? The
Yeah, it was a
team
bad
was
season.
shite.
Yeah.
The team was shite. Like, really, they were bad, 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 bad.
C'est quoi ça, shite? What is that?
Shite. It's a
Quoi ça,
shit,
ça?
shite.
Les
C'est
gars,
quoi
les
ça
gars, il est
dire?
anglais. Les gars, il est
I'm
anglais.
English now,
C'est quoi ça,
like EPL star and stuff like that, right?
So
Peaky-
LP Habs fan tells us
Peaky
he's not a
Blinders,
starter
what is it?
anymore, but he's got into every single game. That when he was a sub, he played roughly 30, 45 minutes. He's not wrong, right? He was considered a super sub. But all of a sudden, everything changes. You've come to a really, really, I'm going to say it, okay? You've come to a really, really bad CF Montreal team where all of a sudden, from being a backup in Sevilla in Europe, you're a fucking star. Because how do you say shite? I'm saying the F word, okay? So it's that it's important. And again, as I mentioned, when I've seen him play under pressure, like he did with Chile, it's not always the best thing. So that's where, like, to me, it's a little bit concerning because yes, 100%, and we will talk a little bit later about his impact outside of the field because that's also very important. But right now we're talking tactically. Now, tactically, we can say he's going to play a false nine because we do have Noah Stride. We also have a young Hennady Sinchuk and Prince Owusu, who has his own style, guys. This is where I start thinking a little bit more. I'm like, how does that work? How do the two work? Because they, in my opinion, they have very, very different play styles. Both are very much similar players in the sense that said, very strong player, impose themselves in the game, like to have the ball, like to, just run over everybody. But how do they play together? Because we've heard the rumors that it didn't work necessarily with Ivan Jaime between the two of them. Not necessarily because they had the same style, but because maybe egos. What do you guys see? How do you guys see that, those two?
Honestly, it's if he's physically able, he's gonna impose what he needs to impose. Alexi, he'll be humble enough. I hope he'll be humble enough to to be he'll be humble enough to shite. See. Yeah, I hope he'll be humble enough to be able to how do I say, to adjust and see what's happening. But il a des exigences. After a while, it's like this is the way football is being played. I've been playing for 15 years. One of the best. I mean, one of the best underrated wingers, I think, of his generation, most probably. One of the best wingers in Premier League, I think, that I've seen. And people forget what he did at Arsenal. Like, people kind of forget, how crazy he was. And also Barcelona, obviously. But what I'm confused about is we right now we're assuming that Ivan Jaime and Prince Jose didn't work because the two players didn't match. But at the same time, the club didn't want Ivan Jaime, and he knew that very quickly. So in the sense, it's a different environment, it's a different setup for both players. Alex Sanchez here. Well, I'm not here on vacation. At the same time, I'm not playing for Inter or Sevilla. So you'll see the level is a bit more down technically. Physically,
Of course.
it's still up there. He can't just be walking around. It's more management of egos and management of personalities. And honestly, the way he plays, he's a great passer. He likes to keep the ball a lot and likes to shoot. He's a great shot. He could be the Berman Zemaili 10 years later. He shoots, he scores every time because his shot is so great. So, but the connection, like you say, Andy, like you asked about, honestly, we'll see. This is gonna be a challenge for Philippe Olafroy. How is he gonna be able to handle this and to find, to make sure both players play together for the good of the club? And I
Let's
think this
let's
is gonna be difficult.
let's dive into it, Sofiane. You know, when you think about it, it's going to be tough because you have we have a visit. We have a
Let's
visit.
go.
Look at that. Let's
Hello,
go.
hello.
Ano
Hello.
Capi.
Who better to have on the show to talk about a big star, right? On the pod, guys. Patrice Bernier, you guys know him. I don't need to do an introduction. Montreal Impact legend, CF Montreal legend, ambassador of the team. Just a fantastic insight always. We're here to talk about the biggest news in CF Montreal community. Alexis Sanchez joining the team. Pat, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing today?
Yeah, good, good. Thanks for having me. Of course, yeah, it's a big day that I don't think a lot of Impact CF Montreal fans thought would happen again. But yeah, we're talking about a great player who's heading towards Montreal, and could this change? Maybe not the whole season, but change the culture around this team and this club for the next couple of seasons at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Pat, for that. And Hadi, I know you were talking about it a little bit, but Pat, I just have a question for you as a player, right? Because we talked about our reaction, looking at it from outside of the locker room and all that. You lived it. You lived it when these stars were, signed on to the team, and you start seeing the news, maybe the newspaper, whatever it is. And what do you think is going to right now through CF Montreal players' minds when they hear those news? Someone like Alexis Sanchez, somebody that maybe most of them have played him on FIFA, right? Like they've played him on FIFA. Maybe they had him on I don't know, but they've never imagined sharing the field with him, and now they're seeing that because this, Pat. A lot of players are, this is one of the youngest squads in the MLS now, right? So what do you think is going through these players' minds as they see the news and they especially
I think
seeing where.
at first you don't really necessarily believe it, and especially this team is even younger because when we got Didier Drogba, we were a little bit older players, more experienced, and we were like, okay, man, Didier is coming. This is for real. And so I guess for these players like Alexis Sanchez, what you're thinking of is, man, he played at Arsenal, FC Barcelona, Man U, Champions League, played at World Cup. He's considered the best, if one of the best Chilean players in the history. So, yeah, I think there's a sense of enthusiasm. And for those who are like, man, we need firepower up front, it gives maybe some hope to say there's a guy coming in. Yeah, he's 37, but he still played at a level that none of those guys have played. So his level at 37 matches the level of some players in the MLS, if not better than for sure.
Big time.
So I think it's a positive vibe. As much as the fans are happy, I'm pretty sure inside the squad, the guys are like, man, how's he going to be at training? What type of shape of he's in? Who he is? And they say a lot about his work ethic. So, and the second part, there's a little Latin group in this team, and they could see him as a big brother. Most of those guys probably saw Sanchez World Cup. I would never play with a guy like that. Like you said, I played on FIFA with him, and now he's going to be my teammate.
Mhm.
Well, there's a lot that you can gain from that, but it's definitely a very good news for the fan base, and especially, I guess, for the players. Some sort of hope and some sort of positive vibe to turn things around and hopefully salvage this season.
Now the question I want to ask all of you guys: how do you think Philippe Lafroy is going to handle this? You guys talked a little bit about man management, the ego, tactics. We're not talking about X's and O. I mean, Philippe Lafroy went from being an academy director to now taking the interim of what could be seen as a broken locker room. And now he got extended his interim to the end of the season. And now you give him Alexis Sanchez to handle in the locker room, to integrate into that team of maybe some doubtful characters. I mean, the team has cleaned house. A lot of players have left that locker room. And now one of your first replacements, if not amongst the replacements, is Alexis Sanchez. How does Philippe Lafroy kind of handle it? I'll let you start with that. How do you think Philippe Lafroy's feeling right now that he has to do this?
I like what Sofiane said a bit earlier. He touched on it a bit. When he said about playing on the pitch. He's either going to play as a striker, as a second striker, or as a fake winger. And I think that's what I would like him to, because I don't think Philippe Lafroy is going to rechange his tactical formation again. We are in the 4-3-3 right now, or 4-2-3-1. most likely the 4-3-3 for now. I don't think that he's going to change it again. But if you do the fake winger, do you want to stop the progression of Hennady Sinchuk on the right? You're going to have to put him on the left. But if you put him on the left, you have a problem because Luca Petrasso is not the kind of wing back. He's more a fullback. He's not someone that goes a lot forward, even if he has done so this year. So I don't know how it's going to fit, but it's surely going to be an attacking piece that's going to play in the middle of the pitch, in my opinion, like in the center of the pitch. We're not going to see him, a lot on the wing that dribbles. So I want to hear, Safyan take on it because he mentioned the fake winger style.
Yeah, but thanks, Hadi, and so just to put him somewhere. But at the end, like, you're just gonna put him in. Like, just call
Let
him
him do his
offensive
thing.
call him offensive midfielder, so you don't have to answer too many questions to the media.
Free
Send him
roll, free spirit, free
free
spirit.
spirit,
Go,
technical.
just play.
Use the buzzword offensive midfield, electron libre, Latin, boom, 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 and that's it. You're done. Then it's gonna be David. It's gonna be
Hey,
it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay that way. And at the end, he will this. If physically, I've been saying, if he's able, like Divayo was and Drogba was, if he's able, he'll dictate what his style was gonna happen, and he will have parameters from the coach, obviously, but he's gonna by default gonna be a leader technically because he will do things on the field that these players have never done, like Patrice said, at least not at that level that he had. And he's not playing against a mid-table Sevilla. He's not playing with a mid-table Sevilla team. Like, he'll be shocked how, like, okay, this is not no, it's not even mid-table Sevilla team.
no,
The
bottom
whole
table Sevilla team. They were almost going to be relegated.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's gonna be an adjustment for both parties, and I think it's just don't ask him to defend. Just like he will defend, but don't ask him to track it back the whole time. Let him score goals or create chances. I think that's what the club needs. That's what the club needs. There's no relegation. There's no promotion. Let's just have fun. This club needs fun on the pitch. That's what they need. And I think the Sanchez signing is to bring fun back on the pitch.
And I just before I get into the outside of the field aspect of Alexis Sanchez, but Cappy, I just want to ask you, how do you think? Because I asked you about the player's perspective, but now you've also been a coach, right? And the coach in the sideline. How do you think the coaching staff is taking this right now? How do you think they handle these kind of egos? Maybe we can talk about Prince Owusu, right? Who might see his role change. He might no longer be that guy. How do you think they're handling this? How do you kind of integrate an Alexis Sanchez into that squad?
If I'm Prince Owusu, I'm telling myself maybe a guy who's finally going to give me some passes when I make runs in the depth. Like, I want to play with a guy like that. That's the way I see it. I wouldn't see it as he's a threat. I would see it as he's an added on piece that I needed, or at least the offensive part needs. So now it's where does he suit in, and how do you quickly synchronize, getting cohesion with him? Meaning he has a way of playing. He's going to dictate. You give me the ball, and I move, and I do this. And how fast do you connect with him and see how does he like the ball, what type of passes he's looking for, or he's trying to give? Because he's probably going to give some passes, and the guys are going to be. He's going to be like, wait, you didn't do the run, like.
Yeah.
He's going to see things 2 times, 3 times faster than most guys. Now, how fast do they understand this is how he plays and just make the run? The ball will get there, or he might use you as a dummy, as Nacho Piatti would do sometimes, use you and then go score himself. So it'll be interesting to see how Philippe Lafroy utilizes him. I remember there's a game, he played a 4-4-2. He had Daniel Rios and he had Victor Loturi kind of covering the left wing. That could be that those guys in the midfield are going to work for him.
Exactly.
It's the reality. I said it. When Nacho Piatti played, the plan was get on the side, just bring them some side, and our job is to win the ball and give you the ball in the right area so you can do your thing. So now you could play 4-4-2, wing coming inside, Petrasso goes up. There's things that you can do. But if you're Philippe Lafroy, you're like, okay, I start with these guys, but who's going to come in and change the game if these guys don't do it? The Sinchuk brings in something, but you're asking a 19, 20-year-old to be the main guy.
Mm.
which he's not yet, and that will take away a bit some of the pressure of having to come in and be a final piece in scoring. So now you have a piece. You go, okay. Now I start with him, maybe Owusu and Sinchuk. Now maybe Rios comes in as a depth player like he is supposed to be. And but for me, I'm Philippe Lafroy. Finally, up front, I got somebody who I believe will generate energy. And Sofiane said it. I think it's just hope. I think it's hope that this guy. I would want to go to the stadium and go. The minute he dribbles 1-2,
Yeah,
finally somebody who takes on people and tries to create something, some creation, some ideas. And then if it pans out to be like Drogba, or at least if he scores 5 or 6 goals, and or he contributes to 6, 7, 8 goals during the rest of the season, I'd be
success.
like, great. What we can do next year is find more pieces to make this team better. But I would be ecstatic because I remember when Didier came, everybody said, he's 37. But then I watched him in training and go, yeah, but this guy's at this level. He may be at 37, but he's a 37-year-old, but he's really like a 30-year-old in MLS level. So
Yeah,
Mm.
so it'll be
yeah, yeah.
I
And I
would
think,
be I would be really enthused right now, being knowing, okay, he's coming in.
yeah,
I would be like, I want to play with him. I want him to show that I can play with you. I can play at your level. That's the way I would be if I would be in that team. That's the way I was when Drogba came in, when Divaro came in. I was like, I don't want him to see like, I came here. These guys are not on my level. No, this guy, you could play with my level. Yes, I want to play with you.
yeah.
So interesting and very, like I said, enthusiastic moment for the club. Now after that, you still have to go on the field and perform. So that's another story.
But
Now,
I don't know how Alexis is, but I don't know him personally yet. You never know. But Alexis Sanchez, but I think Philippe Rafa will use him as a not like as a second coach. He's not gonna lean on him.
Yeah, definitely.
He's not gonna give him the keys officially. He's like, you know what? It's
Well,
like
just like
you
Biello did with Drogba. At the end of the day,
exactly,
this guy has a level that nobody in that
exactly.
team, when I mean nobody, the coaches also have played at that level and lived that level. World Cup, Champions League, pressure of playing at Barcelona, Arsenal, Man United, and even the
Exactly.
other clubs that he's played, because he's played at
Marseille,
Colo
Marseille,
Colo
Marseille,
in
yeah.
Chile,
Marseille,
in
Marseille, Patrice,
Marseille,
Marseille.
especially
mm,
the
Yeah. I
latest,
know.
last greatest seasons were when he was at Marseille. So
Right.
mm.
so you're
Y-
definitely going to go, okay, where do you play best? Where do you feel the most? Go there. We'll fit it in. And
Yeah.
then how do you see things? And he might go, hey, I like this player. And then suddenly a player that Escobar might just go here because he's around Alexis Sanchez. So, and
Absolutely.
yes, it'll be great. It'll be
Yeah,
great.
what world are we living in to see Sanchez versus Mueller in the Canadian Championship? It's
Ah, that's
FIFA. It's
fun.
FIFA,
That's
man.
fun. That's
But
fun.
look,
Hey, my friend, you had Drogba versus Kaka. So
True. Yeah, you're
you
right.
see,
You're
you
right.
see if Montreal had Divayo, Nesta, and DJ Drogba, the players, and then after that you had Nacho Piatti, who was not necessarily
And
a
Alexis
star but
Sanchez
became a
now.
star. So,
C'est malade.
so
Yeah.
you've had players with that. Now it's just you can say, I didn't think this was going to happen again. And yes, you have another star player playing in Montreal. How many clubs in this league can say they had as many players as that? LA Galaxy, yes,
By
but you can't
default,
say
yeah.
that many have had those types of players, and now a new one incoming.
now let's set the standard. Okay, we got to set the standard. Et on peut le répondre en français aussi pour tout le monde qui nous écoute en français aussi. On va set le standard. Does adding Alexis Sanchez to CF Montreal automatically give them more of a chance to make it to the playoffs this season? Or is that too crazy to think about? On va dire les vraies choses là.
Let me check the stand. I've been
Okay.
to the standings for a while now. I know they
Okay.
are for last. How many points are they behind?
Let's do the math. But no,
That's not bad. Not that bad.
does having him in the field and having him be a free spirit and do whatever does that give a CF Montreal a legitimate shot, or are we still very far away from that idea? So if I'll
I
start
look.
with you.
I look at the standards. I look at the standings. It's mathematically beyond mathematically possible. The thing is, with the like it's a big stretch, obviously. But with Alexis Sanchez is that I think we, I don't think people realize how good it is that he's in the middle, don't lax to score goals and to create goals. Like people don't realize even at 37 how he could be MLS It's not that it's good. It's a good league. Physically, maybe he'll have difficulties more than he thinks. We'll see. But what is it? They have 16 points. Playoff is 25 points. Yeah, 9 points. It's a it's a
23. 23
23.
23.
points.
Sorry,
There's
23 with
7
the
points back.
8 9. Yeah, 8 9. Yeah, it's spot number 8, spot number 9. Yeah, so it's possible. Looking at a good run, you never know. I think maybe they'll make it to decision day. Maybe to be they need like a super combo Lotomax to be able to maybe to get through it. They
So
get
Soft
lucky.
says he
I
I
love
love the
Sofiane
soft
Spirit,
touch.
man. That's so
I can I
Soft
think
That's where we want
maybe
to live.
because I just visualize offensively how he is. I see him autour de la raquette, en dehors de la surface. I see him. That's where I don't see him before. He probably gonna go from the midfield and try and dribble because that he's the old snatch from Udinese. He'll try and do it. But I see him like Piatti without the 50-meter runs, just the last 20 to 30 meters. I was saying before,
I
Pat.
like that phrase,
Uh,
but
I was saying before, Pat. He shot my shock goalies like they shock your colleague Zimaili. It was like Zimaili was shooting. It was like it was too easy for him. So I think we're gonna. Many people underestimate how good he is offensively, even at his age. It's a bit stretch for me to make that correlation with playoffs, but I think in a good run, they could make a good run for it. I think.
Hadi, what do you think? Setting the standard, because I felt like Soft was being a little bit positive, right? He said that they're gonna, but there's a
just
lot of negative
just a little
comments,
bit,
just
just a little.
Now,
It's
which
now,
rare.
which is
It's
weird.
yeah,
rare.
it's rare.
It's kind
It's
of
rare.
weird, but
Usually,
he chose his angle and
He
he
took
stuck
the high
with it.
road. He took the high road.
Yeah.
let's cut that clip from
Yeah.
that and just play
You're
it
frozen
to
again,
Soft
Soft. Sorry.
every time.
I
No,
just came back on vacation, so I have no idea what's going on.
that's why you're positive, right?
Go ahead.
No, but like you can't be negative when you have that sort of signing. It's impossible to be negative. It's you're getting someone better. You're getting someone that has lived it all, like Pat has said earlier. You're getting someone from a certain pedigree, so you're gonna be better. That's completely normal. You cannot expect the team to be worse or the same after the signing. It's gonna be better. Now, how better? That's the question. Of course, you have Philippe Lafroy that will have his say. How is he going to play? I like what Pat Bernier said a bit earlier. Is he going to play him as a like fake winger, as slash striker, like we saw Daniel Rios play? That's a possibility, and that's maybe the most logical way of playing him right now because the players are used to play that way. So that could be nice. He could fit in there very, very easily. Now, as for the playoffs, it's always possible in the MLS. We've seen it so many times. You guys remember when we had DC United with Wayne Rooney? They were
Rooney,
last.
Nicola Lodero, Inter Miami almost did it in the first year of Messi. Of course, it's Messi, but still, he's in that stratosphere.
Exactly.
Like this, Alexis Sanchez. So
Exactly. So you're able to dream about it. Now, like I said at the beginning of the pod, in my opinion, you have to complement that signing with a couple more because you lack depth and a bit of quality in that team. So you have the spark now. You have the go-to guy with Alexis Sanchez, which is great. You have also Prince Owusu. That's been great scoring goals. That's great. Now you need a bit more of creation. You need one more player that's going to add a bit of creativity in the middle of the park, or from the wings, or from the wing backs. I'm not really sure where they're going to bring quality, but
Isn't
they
that
will
the
need a
problem,
bit
though?
more quality.
Isn't that the
mean,
problem? You don't know
yeah.
where it's gonna come from.
No,
Isn't
it
that?
could be anywhere. It could be
I mean,
anywhere.
the midfield needs a rehaul, but that's something for the end of season mercato.
Frankie Amaya, baby. Cappy, what do you think? Like, do they setting
I
the
think
standard for CF Montreal?
Hadis mentioned it a bit. He should be a spark. Will they make the playoffs? We don't know. But in this league, anything can happen at this stage because if you go Saturday, because with this great news, he's Alexis Sanchez is not there. But if you have a good performance, vintage jersey, impact name coming back, Sanchez just arrived. You got the vibes that if you go win that game, and if he arrives sometime this week and he's available maybe next week, and you start gaining one more victory, and then suddenly we've seen it. You go on a run. It's possible in this league because then suddenly you make 6, 7 points, people drop, your ninth, 10th, 11th, looking in closer. Now you have to create. You have the spark. Now, will that create some fire? Right now, you have the spark. Now, they Saturday have to utilize and go. This is DC. We have a chance to show Alexis Sanchez that we're not as bad as the standings show, so that when he comes, we're already running, and then you're sprinting, and then suddenly you're looking at because we've seen it. It's happened to a lot of teams where they get a new player mid-season, a quality high player, and hopefully maybe they get another player, or who knows, you get a Robert Taylor of Inter Miami, somebody
Oh
whose
yeah.
level just raises because Alexis Sanchez is there, and I want to show I can play, and then scores a bunch of goals, and suddenly straight starts playing better. Sinchuk feels liberated. Maybe
Yeah.
Longstaff starts shooting from distance and adds on 3-4 goals. So this is MLS. It's possible. Now you got to create that possibility. You've created the momentum and the hope with announcing the player. Now you gotta go and it has to become concrete, getting points before he arrives, and then if he arrives, then it could be a roller coaster very fast in this league. That's the beauty of MLS, and no relegation, and that you're still in it until the last 5-6 games, where mathematically you're kind of out of it. So that's what I'm hoping, that Saturday, not when Alexis Sanchez arrives, Saturday they get a win, and at least this momentum keeps going. And then Sanchez comes in, he arrives at the airport or whatever. A bunch of Chileans show up, Latin-based kind, following the bus, whatever. And then I think it's there to create. Now, will they make the playoffs? Right now, I'm pretty sure we all say no, they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, of course.
But
So.
something happens the next 2-3 games, then suddenly the mindset and the narrative changes.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna be optimistic like everybody and use this announcement saying it's a good start, and it's a spark to say we didn't think this was gonna happen. Getting a player like this,
No.
we didn't even think the designated player. We were thinking, when is he gonna happen? So,
But the club needs to make it work, because that's how you attract more players. You
yeah,
see,
that's
they
why
can they can manage this ego, they can manage this how they can manage this guy.
if you don't play, if you don't even make the playoffs at the end, but you have a good run.
Yeah.
Alexis Sanchez is gonna arrive. Go, we're missing one of these two pieces. I know a guy.
Yeah.
I know somebody. His agent will maybe find some, and then suddenly an extra piece. Who maybe just like Miami. I want to go play with Messi. Somebody wants to probably play with Alexis Sanchez, and you get one or two pieces, and then you start running, and then the next 2 years, you've created something, and then suddenly when he leaves, whenever that is,
You have a
you
transition.
change the cycle of what the last
Exactly.
2-3 seasons have been, if not the last 3-4 seasons. So
Yeah, I think we do in a sense underestimate, because right now we're analyzing Alexis Sanchez as a player, but there's so much more to just on the field, because I did tell you guys I wanted to talk a little bit about outside of the field, right? Because Alexis Sanchez, whether we like it or not, he brings sales too, not just tickets. There's going to be jerseys that are going to come out with his name, and people are going to want to wear it. As you said, people are already looking into going into the airport when he lands, because because they want to. They feel excited. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you want to say, we've been watching this team the whole year. We've known who they are even before Alexis Sanchez came. So that's why we're a little bit skeptical, but we're hanging on to this positivity with hope that there could actually be playoffs at the end of the season. But let's talk about outside the field. How important is it that CF Montreal, and I'm talking the marketing team, the communications team, how important is it that they handle the Alexis Sanchez brand to continue this positive vibe into next season, whether there is playoff or not? He might not score a goal, he might not have an assist, but they got to juice it out, man, because if a week ago we're looking at the post that CF Montreal have on their social media, be it X, be it Instagram, look at the comment section, guys. Look at the comment section after every game. It's not pretty. So how do they do this? How do they grab this opportunity of a brand and make CF Montreal stand out worldwide? Saf, I'll start with you.
Oof, big question. Let's start stand out in Montreal. On commence par Montréal. But yeah, like LP Half Sanchez says, a few hours ago, it was like 5 million engagement on Fabio's tweet. But Alexis Sanchez is coming to Montreal, so it's a big impact. A huge player. I think he's at 60 million followed on Instagram, which is good for engagement numbers, marketing, sales. That's a good metric to sell. Doesn't mean it's real numbers, but like XG, it's nice, but you still have you got to go from XG to G. You need to score. So, and what's interesting about Alexis Sanchez, the impact is that we talk about it a little bit with Patrice in the sense, who can he attract eventually, players wise, if that's possible. That's always a bonus. But like you say, Andy, outside the field, it's, and I wasn't there with you guys, Patrice, on the field and in stadium with the Drogba, but trying to market Drogba was probably more difficult. Like try to use him as a brand, but maybe use his performances was easier. The sales and stuff. Look at the highlights. That famous video at Soirée La, it was really a good hit. So they need to do the same thing. The creative brains that are behind the Impact Media, CF Montreal Media team do a great job. Now they have a canvas, even a better canvas to work on, and they need to use it. Just pump up videos and I don't care what's his favorite food, but do that too. But that's awesome. But you gotta do like cool highlights, make it like he's like the best thing that ever happened since sliced bread, and he is. And they need to market him. They need to boost social media because now he's gonna be in the eye of the mainstream media in a way. You know, they'll talk about him if he does good performances. The mainstream media that never talk about soccer, only when it's bad or say the World Cup is not a good thing in Montreal, they'll talk about it, and that's when you get into that to be more relevant, and you need him that way. I don't have any demographics about the Chilean community, how big they are. There must be 20,000 Chileans, I think, in Montreal, maybe. When I researched a while ago, but the impact, I'm not sure how it's going to be on numbers. But the Alexis Sanchez brand is going to be interesting. I think we're going to see sales and ticket sales going to go up for sure, to watch him play. I think it's going to be interesting.
Well, look,
And
I told I was telling Hattie earlier on the show. I was like, what? I just told one of my colleagues this morning where I told him, hey, by the way, Alexis Sanchez is coming to CF Montreal, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a ticket just to watch him. He does not care about the game.
yeah,
He does not care about how the game goes. He's gonna
yeah,
pay his ticket to watch Alexis Sanchez.
yeah.
So that's yeah.
Oh,
Cappy, how do you think CF Montreal handles this moment, this surge of interest into it, and not just in Montreal, outside of Montreal? A lot of people are now paying attention.
I think these days you can't be shy anymore. Social media before it was like, we don't want to put too much out there, too much expectations. Now it's about be brash, put the brand out, say who he is, best player in the history of Chile, most caps, most goals, the clubs he's played, high brand player, and then you capitalize on people wanting. I assume he's going to be wearing number 10
Mhm. Oh
in
yeah.
Yeah,
the
he
jersey.
is.
Sanchez, I would have. I'm thinking going Air Transat Santiago to Montreal. If you don't know, Santiago is the capital of Chile. So Santiago to Montreal, this is who he is, and he has his own brand. If I'm correct, he has his own nickname. How much you market that, how much you talk about it, and then I would be. This should be. I don't know there is right now. I haven't been on media, but his goals should be just going through CF Montreal. Like this is who he is, and
yeah.
just like when Drogba, everybody talked about Cote d'Ivoire, Marseille, Chelsea, the goals. This guy has scored some fantastic goals from Udinese before he was nobody
Oh, he
until
was
he popped up
great.
to FC Barcelona. So he's
No,
popping up
you,
so
you
that
need to remind people, and you can get those Arsenal fans, Barcelona fans. Like you can
those
catch their
people
attention
where
on
he
social media.
connected will
Yeah,
now want to see what's happening with him. Those who hate him, he didn't do so well,
yeah, for sure, for
whatever.
sure.
But you can connect with that, and
Yeah,
there's so much that you can utilize him for, and that his brand is still strong. It's like he's part of the list. When you look at Lewandowski, Son, Messi, Casemiro, he's in that conversation. He's
yeah,
played those levels of games with
yeah.
those guys. He was considered one of the best forwards in Europe at one point. Maybe not the best, but he was in the conversation of
One of the
guy
best
who's
wingers for sure. Yeah,
exciting to watch. And when I look the media right now, most people are like, "Oh, there's this. Who is this Alexis Sanchez guy?"
hmm,
Because the people who didn't know DJ Drogba were like, "Who is this guy?" The conversation goes outskirt. It goes further because he attracts attention. Now the games, the goals, will just make it go further, kind of like
Exactly.
Didier. But at this day and age, everything you can use and market him and utilize what he's coming into Montreal to the market. Why not? Because the MLS will be using it too.
Of
Alexis
course,
Sanchez is in MLS. He's in
of course.
Montreal. They talked more about us when Didier was here because it was Didier. They have a brand that's sometimes or more bigger than yours. So just capitalize on it any way necessary. And then depending on how he is, because maybe he won't be, maybe he's not the type of wanting to do too much. But sometimes some guys are like, they like to use their brand. And so I think there's a lot of things that you can do with him, and you have to because you've had a year or 2 years of people slowly disinteresting because they didn't feel the aura of the team was about being competitive and going further. Now you're saying we want to be competitive. We want to get a designated player at the likes of who we had before. So yeah, I think that's there's so much things that you can do, and just like Sofiane did, the guy has 60 million followers. He's got as much as Didier Drogba.
Yeah.
So, and this is an age of
And it's and
Instagram, TikTok, and everything. The minute he's going to do something, it's going to be talked about in South America. I'm
exactly the
pretty
South
sure on
American market is
ESPN,
huge.
Deportes, they're talking about Alexis Sanchez is heading to Montreal.
Yeah.
So now it's
Yeah,
going to be a conversation that he's popping up everywhere because his name is going to be resonating in Mexico, talking about him and stuff like that. And so,
It's a great point, Patrice, what you just said, because I think Andy, you could talk about it. You have the demographics for it, being South American originally,
Yeah.
and I think the Montreal hasn't, except Montreal and Montreal Impact, haven't had the South American buzz. Piatti was a great player, but he wasn't known. It wasn't, he was talked about, but Sanchez is were well known, and the South American following is huge. So I don't
I
think
think the best
outside
compare. Yeah.
Argentinians, I think most South Americans like him outside Argentinians. So the rest of the continent must be okay with him. So that's a great. Maybe you can tell
Not
us more about it.
Peruvians. Not Peruvians.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are complicated, man.
This is why I'm kind of quiet this show. I'm just letting you guys talk, I'll let my talking another time, but but no, it's just look, this is how it is, right? If you're Latino, you understand who Alexis Sanchez is. You just like you understand who Lionel Messi is. You understand who these other Latino big star players are. Whether you like them or you don't like them, that's a personal thing, but you do know who they are, and that's important because even if you're Mexican, even if you're Honduran or wherever you're from, here in Montreal, you're gonna say, I know who that is. He's played my
Yeah.
team and he's played my team and he kicked my ass. Well, he kicked our ass while he played our team. And so that's where it's at, kind of where Latinos are kind of torn in the sense that they want to see a big Latino star, but at the same time, sometimes you're just gonna wear
The
the other
rivalry,
jersey
yeah.
just to show Alexis Sanchez, like, hey, remember us, right? But
Yeah.
it's not always gonna be like that. But
But I think the nostalgia part that Alexis Sanchez will bring in is gonna be huge. And Patrice talked about it, like the nostalgia of like Arsenal, Manchester. Maybe Manchester wasn't. People will forget mostly Manchester United. Is 2 years there, but Udinese for the old schools, Barcelona, Arsenal, those two, and Chile obviously. But Barcelona, Arsenal, that's a big, huge. Marseille, sorry, Marseille
Thank
too.
you.
Marseille too. But like Pat said, the club needs to market it and really just put on loop, do funny quirks on TikTok and Instagram, and just loop his goals and make fun, have fun interviews with the players about Sanchez and about Alexi. So it's gonna be really fascinating, and I'm excited for it. Just for the hype,
Yeah.
the buzz and the hype. I'm excited for it. The more I talk about it, the more like I want.
yeah, damn,
He
Sofiane
froze
froze again.
again, man.
But look,
He froze. I just want to
Udinese,
add.
because it
Oh,
made my
he's back.
Udinese one. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was
No,
I was
it's
frozen,
okay.
huh?
Yeah, you were
I
frozen.
was
Right?
frozen
Go
again.
ahead.
clutch,
Okay,
clutch,
I'm
clutch.
done. I'm done. I'm on mute. I'm done.
No,
That's
don't
okay.
be.
Ah,
Go
vas-y,
ahead,
vas-y, mon
Hattie.
frère.
Go ahead.
Vas-y, mon
Now,
frère.
I just wanted to add a couple more opportunities also because I'm looking at short term. So first of all, you have, and I think Pat talked about it a bit earlier with the the vintage shirt that's coming this weekend. That's a good opportunity. But the second opportunity also is the 24th of August with the Meet the Players event that we have every year. They postponed it for a couple of weeks because there was bad weather yesterday. I think it was a good, maybe a shout from God saying, you know what? Wait a bit, you're going to get a better event in a couple of weeks. So that's also an opportunity for the fans to meet Alexis Sanchez and to grow the brand within the CF Montreal community, which is, as we said a bit earlier, a bit indifferent and have been indifferent for the past 2-3 years. So that's a great opportunity also for CF Montreal. So you have those small opportunities, you have the big opportunities, you have to use the MLS, you have to use a lot of things, but grow your brand, grow your image, get more visibility. This is what you're going to need to get out of Alexis Sanchez, plus what he brings on the pitch. What he brings on the pitch is something. What he brings outside of the pitch is something else. It's a much, much, much bigger, in my opinion.
Now, I do have, I just want to kind of, because I know I've had you guys for a long time, so I just kind of want to finish with just these last few points here. We're in the end of the what is it? What are they calling it? The Speed 2027 season? Sprint. Yeah, Sprint Speed. And it's the end. You're Gabriel. You guys are Gabriel Gervais or Lucas Aputo or whoever the hell is making the decisions there, and you have to decide whether we're picking up the option for the next season. Oh. The reason I'm not telling you to make a decision today, but I want to know what is it, if you're the one making that decision. What is it that Alexis Sanchez has to do from his first game till that moment to consider it a success for both club and himself, and also that it's worth activating that option? Pat, I think I'll let you go first. So you're the decision maker of the club, and
thanks.
If you want me to start, I can start, Pat. Like, I don't want.
If you want, hypothetically,
just an imaginary world. What will be a successful?
If I go football mind, and when I contract, he probably has something in his contract that if he scores a certain amount of goals and he does well for the first year, it extends to the option. Yes, it's option of the club, but don't forget these are DP players. Their options are not the same level as the rest of the players in the league. Sometimes they're activated automatically. Sometimes you don't even know about it. Now
there's some story behind this.
I think no, but this is the reality of being a player. Sometimes you learn about his options but it's been activated sometime during the season because it's in his contract. It's just officially it has to be announced around November and December because those are the dates. So it might be there's something in his contract that he scores an amount of goals, plays an amount of minutes. The team, let's say in the contract it says if the team makes the playoffs this year, you've impacted right away. Automatically, you have 1 more year. That's contractual,
guaranteed salary.
Yeah. But I would say, look, if he in a year and a half, because he's going to have a half a season, then a sprint season, and then the beginning of a new calendar year. I think if he does well enough and he contributes offensively to the pack, no matter what the team does, I think specific if you show that he shows no signs of really aging, why not keep him for an extra year? And also maybe a year where you go, I told you, he's here 2 years. You should be preparing your DP for 2 years from now. That a guy was 25, 26. I remember Marco Di Vaio finished, Nacho Piatti arrived. It was a good transition. Nobody knew what Nacho was going to do, but it was great. Di Vaio, first DP, new DP, and then boom, 5 years of great. So I think if he performs well in the span of the next year, you already see, is he aging? Is he happy here? And he's showing the signs that he wants to stay here and he's doing well. Why not keep him? Is he affecting the group, the culture in the team? People are doing things, like I said, the Latin group. He's going to be like the big brother. They're going to be might invite some of these guys to eat, and they can learn sponges about how he operates his brand, how he trains, what was life in Barcelona, Arsenal, what is it I need to take the next step. Well, those guys were going to be looking at him. So I think if he has that effect also around the team, I would keep him for an extra year because those players they only come around once. And unfortunately, Didier left, I think the plan was for him to stay a little bit longer as some sort of ambassador, and it didn't. It didn't finish as it could, but you could utilize him so that he stays connected to your club after his time.
And so, just before I get to you, I did want to point something out too, which many people might know, many people might not know. But you guys know that the mayor of Montreal, Soraya Ferrada, she's Chilean too. And one of the first things she did when she came into office is she made sure that there was for the first time ever, I think it was the first time ever in the history of Montreal, the airport, a direct flight from Montreal to Chile. So I don't know if that's a selling point at all to Alexis Sanchez or any other Chilean player for that matter. But that was a little detail that I remember kind of maybe leads kind of that sales pitch, right? So if you're the head honcho, you're the guy at the front office, and you have to make a decision. You have to decide, right? Do I give action Alexis Sanchez? What does he have to do to convince Sofiane Benzaza that he should action his option?
Honestly, if he's physically fit like he did at Sevilla, I'll be happy. The talent is there. He'll unlock it. He doesn't have to play against La Liga defenders and midfielders. He doesn't have to run 60 meters, and doesn't have to do what he can still do and wants to do. But he'll be. I'm like, unless it's a red flag, personality wise, or something happens within the group quickly, you'll see it. I'm assuming he's gonna be here for the option. I have no issue.
Okay, Self, let me put you in a situation. He scores 15 goals, but he has a bunch of red flags. He likes to go to casino every Saturday night. Everybody knows it. Are you still actioning that because of those goals he scores to you?
No, it's fine. It's fine. You can put limits. You have friends at casinos. The club knows people. It's fine. We'll figure out.
Okay.
I'm talking about flags. Like despite the flags are like, okay, the guy is not contributing and he's hindering the group, and it's counterintuitive or counterproductive. Sorry. So there's that. I'm on the hype train right now. So these questions, I'm gonna say yes to everything. So, and during this time here, even if it scores 0 goals, I don't care about the salary. I'm not gonna do the whole ratio salary like they did with Iman Jaime and other players. I'm like, I don't care. Pay him
Okay,
2,
but when
3, 4.
you're actioning his contract, that's when the salary starts coming into mind, right?
Yeah, but we'll see. People will talk about salary when it comes up later this year and the next year. Oh, is he efficient? $4 million US for 2.4 goals. I was gonna be a stat expert. Like, I don't care about that. These are DPs. These even a temp player, even a regular player. These are employees. They need to get paid. They have a value. You decide the value. The player didn't force you to give you this contract, and live with it. We need. I'm not do the data analytics of salaries pro rata to the performance with him. I'm like, we hope physically he's be able to do it, and will help the team go up a level just mentally. Just with that, it's gonna give a lot of dividends for the club, like Patrice said, to help the young players to see the ethics of being top level and just go for it.
All right,
Exactly.
And who cares about salary? So poodles are rich enough. We just want to have fun as fans.
Yeah.
Let's go for the vibes. Let's go for the vibes. We're gonna go for the vibes. All right, Hadi, let's finish up that question, that scenario.
Yeah.
What does Alexis Sanchez have to do besides play at Marseille? Have to do to convince you to
He really convinced me because he played at Marseille, right?
Okay.
But no. I completely agree with Suf. At the same time, you can't really count the salary, count the money that he's earning. Yes, of course, he needs to produce. I agree with Pat too. He needs to produce. That's 100%. Now you can't have a year and a half scoring 2 goals. That's not going to be enough to activate that option. So you need a bare minimum. But at the same time, he's bringing so much more than just what's on the pitch. Like we've been saying for the past hour and 15 minutes. That's very important. So you need that. At the same time, you're adding, by extending him, you're bringing that morale up, right? Like a lot of people are going to be, and a lot of people look at morale and they really don't give it enough value, in my opinion. Like that group, the morale of the group is so important. Just him signing here, that lifted the morale of the group to very high points, and that brings results. right? So when you extend a player like that, if he has produced, that's also a boost in morale. And that's independent of how much minutes he's getting on the pitch, right? So you need to know what kind of impression he leaves within the group, within the community, and of course at the stadium. And knowing Alexis Sanchez, he's not the kind of player that really, I've never heard him, be a nuisance in a group. He's always someone that's been very, usually has a good feeling with everybody, takes care of everybody and is part of a group. He's not, I want to be the star and, I don't care about anybody else. That's not the kind of ego that he has. So I'm not really, I'm pretty hyped up, honestly, a bit like Sofiane. I'm pretty hyped up. I think it's going to be positive for CF Montreal. Now, it all depends on how positive it's going to be. Now we're going to be able to see on the pitch.
But Hadi, we have to give a credit for the how do I say the bet the club has taken.
Yeah.
Because they're a low point at this point. You gotta try something, and they're not trying like some random guy. They're trying a known name that could help them. So let's go for something. They're a low point, to be honest. Let's try something. And
completely I agree with you. And I wanna add someone that said here on the comments. They said something. I just hope it's not a James Rodriguez situation in Minnesota when he leaves after like 5 games. Yeah, honestly, even if he leaves after 5 games, like you said, Sofiane, I completely agree. At least they tried something. We've been saying for the last 3 years that they haven't tried anything. Like at least now they're trying something. They tried something with Ivan Jaime, but now they're trying something else. And in my opinion, something a lot better with a player of a certain pedigree. That's really, really interesting. So let's wait and see.
Yeah, 100%. And we're going to finish the show with one last question. That's it, guys. I know we've had you for a long time. So on a scale from 1 to 10, I know we're falling asleep. We're tired. 1 to 10. 1 being like, ugh, whatever, just another signature, to 10 being like, let's go. How are you guys feeling about Alexis Sanchez coming to CF Montreal? Again, we'll finish it with this. You don't need to give your explanation. Just give me feeling. How excited. I know I'm at 8. I'm not 10 because he's Chilean. Anyways, Hadi, go ahead. Go ahead. What a rating? 1 to 10. How excited are you?
Honestly, like I said, I was very, very, very mad about everything around CF Montreal in the past few weeks. And, I had my own tantrum last week.
Yes.
And right now, and right now I'm very, very excited. I would say a 9. I would say a 9.
Pat, how you feeling? 1 to 10.
Yeah, I would say 9.
9. All right. Soft?
Yeah, 8.5. To be different.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we're excited and we're going to continue covering it. We're super excited. And Pat, Soft, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You guys, we enjoyed having you guys. You guys are more than welcome to stop by whenever you want. But that's all for tonight's show. Thanks to everyone who joined us live and those catching us on the replay. We also appreciate your support. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with a fellow soccer fan, especially the new ones, right? The new ones that are coming in now. Follow The Ball Is Round as well as Andy, Pat, Soft, Hadi, all of them on social media for everything CF Montreal, Rose FC, FC Super de Quebec, and the Canadian soccer landscape. A special thank you to all our Patreon subscribers recent. As always, this podcast is free. We loved having you guys. Thank you for showing up so late and staying with us the whole show. And we'll see you.